We are live from Clemson Memorial Stadium for this matchup between the Michigan Wolverines and the Clemson Tigers. I'm David Roy, and in the booth with me tonight is the commissioner of the CFSL, Mike Peters. And Mike, both teams coming at 1-3, and this being a non-conference game doesn't necessarily impact their playoff scenario, but both teams want to get back on that winning track.
They do, and a win here definitely helps right their season. Michigan could win out from here and go 5-3, 4-2 in their conference, and nobody would remember that they finished 1-3. A little bit tougher climb for Clemson, but they could still finish 500 in conference. They could be over 500 on the season, but either team, they need to win tonight to start that streak. We'll see who wants it more.
Keith Blazer gets this one out to the 30.5-yard line, where Will Slay will come out in an empty backfield, and Slay to throw. Quick strike over the middle, and that pass caught by Isaac Kraut, the free safety, who doubles on offense.
Yeah, and they go right to him, or right off the bat. He doesn't even make his debut on the defensive side of the ball. They go to him over the middle. Nice catch over the middle on the little slant, kind of like a deep slant, almost a little post route. And he picks up the big gain. And if Clemson's going to be diverse and use Kraut more on offense in this game, it's definitely going to give them Michigan defense something to think about.
Back in the gun here, out to midfield, play fake, Slay. Throwing to the left sideline, that pass caught. Chamberlain King picking up 21.
Well, right now, the Michigan defense is playing a little soft on the outside. They're giving a little bit too much coverage here to the Tigers, and Slay doing a good job of finding his receivers, going through his progression, figuring out which one's going to be open, and picking up the nice gain.
Like this air attack for Clemson working out pretty well, all the way down to the Michigan 30, and we'll see if they stick with that or not, as Slay to throw. Yet again, quick pass this time. The tight end, Maurice Ross, bouncing off one tackle, and he gets down to the 20. So, Mike, 3 straight passing plays here for the Clemson offense.
Well, the big-time 5-star linebacker, Cletus Castle, missed the tackle there over the middle. Given too much cover, or given too much space. There's always somebody that's open, and Will Slay's doing a good job of finding him.
Slay to throw for the 4th time on the drive, and that one to Maurice Ross, down to the 10.
Well, he's using a bunch of different receivers, too. 3 different receivers have caught the 4 passes that he's thrown. So he's doing a good job finding the guys, moving it around. Right now, as you can see, the defensive line a little flustered, trying to figure out where they need to go.
Slay to throw again. 3-man rush. Slay dancing. Going to step up, and that pass caught by King. Touchdown, Clemson.
Oh my mouth was ajar as I saw that. He starts running, and then he has a little off-balance jump throw, perfect time into the end zone. And what a drive there for Will Slay and this Clemson offense as they take the early lead.
A 5-play scoring drive, and all of it through the air, Mike. And so they added Dane Jones just this past week, and yet to use him.
That's a good point. They did not use it, but they didn't need to there. And I'm sure, I haven't talked to Dane, but I'm sure he would say that, hey, if we blow him out, 49-0 or something like that, I don't care if I get a carry. We'll see how that plays out, but you really can't argue with the success that Clemson had on that drive.
Out comes Tanner Jones in the Michigan offense, and Jones, read option keeper. Tanner Jones gets out across the 30, and that's a gain of 7 for the Wolverines.
And Aiden Berry is the one that gets in there to make the tackle. He transferred from USC last season, and he comes in to make the tackle. They got to keep somebody on Tanner Jones because he's speedy and he's electric when he gets out in the open field.
Jones to throw here. And that pass short for Dior Chapman, stopped right at the line of scrimmage, but that is the 100th pass of the season for Tanner Jones.
Well, he's not having the same success that Will Slay has. Clemson not given quite the space that Michigan was, and things are coming a little bit more difficult here for Tanner Jones.
Halfback screen to the left side for Dior Chapman. He's got some blocking and a crease, but very quickly swallowed up by Bill McAllister there, and Chapman not really getting yard as Michigan goes 3 and out.
Well, McAllister hasn't had a super big season as far as tackle for loss or sacks, but he's been good on those halfback screens. He comes through there and forces the punt.
Keith Blazer, decent return out across the 45 here in Mike. So now the question becomes, does Clemson stick with that passing attack that we saw to open up the game?
As of right now, I would. I wouldn't change it until Michigan proves that they can force you to stop it.
See if they do is Slay with the ball spot at the 46, and he's going to go right back to the air. This time the check down for Dane Jones on a little wheel route there to get 8 yards.
I don't know if Clutch in his recruiting pitch told him your first touch with us is going to be on a pass, but there it is.
Here they're going to give it to Dane Jones, and Jones picks up the first down and gets welcomed to the CFSL by this Michigan defense with a pretty hard hit there.
Well, right now, Clemson's kind of able to do whatever they want. They've been passing the ball really well. Now they got a run that gets the first down. Michigan kind of reeling right now on defense.
Slay to throw, and that one well short, but Keith Blazer took a vicious hit and yet holds on for the 6-yard gain.
Yeah, I think that was the walk-on Ed Green that comes up and lays the hit there. But again, too much space. 2 guys late getting over. That was John Hill Jordan and Ed Green. And they both get over. They rally late, but they still allow them to make the catch and pick up 6.
So 8 of the 8 opening plays here for this Clemson offense, one of them has been a designed run for Dane Jones, and that picked up 5 yards as Slay going to go wide receiver screen to the right side, and that pass dropped.
Well, Jonathan Lamar was the receiver there. He got his hands on it, but he saw the defender coming through, I think, and maybe panicked, tried to run before he caught it, and it's going to force the 3rd down.
And 4 wide. Slay to throw. Standing in, quick pass there to the left side, and Chamberlain King, who had the touchdown earlier, this time for the first down.
More space out there for the defense. And Hugh Staley gives them a little bit too much cushion. And again, right now, Slay is dealing when you give them space.
Lead option keeper Will Slay running right. He gets absolutely clobbered there by John Hill Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan's been a big feature part of this defense, second on the team in tackles coming in, and he lays the big wallop there on the Clemson quarterback. Got to be a little frustrated that they can't seem to stop this offense on the first 2 drives.
Knocking on the red zone is this Clemson offense yet again, and they're going to give it to Dane Jones, who breaks 1 tackle, and Jones cuts inside. He gets a pretty big hit there from John Hill Jordan, but that picks up 5 and a new set of downs.
Jones is 6'1", 225, so he's not a little guy. And that walk-on cornerback, Ed Green, comes in. He just runs right over him on the way to picking up the first.
Still set in a 2-by-2 look. Jones with some room, but he gets met pretty quickly there by Cletus Castle. Another 5-yard run for Jones.
Big hit there by Castle. Jones a little bit too impatient there. If he sets up that block, he might get the touchdown, but he outran his blocker and allowed Castle to lay the big ring.
Down to the 10, and all 3 of Dane Jones's carries have gone for 5 yards so far. We'll see if he can get anything longer than that. As Slay to throw. Threads that one in for Chamberlain King, who works his way down to the 3.
Not quite how he threaded that one in there. There was a lot of traffic right there. 2 of his receivers ran into each other, but they wound up converting it. We'll see if Jones gets the touchdown.
Lead option keeper Will Slay, touchdown, Clemson.
And Slay takes it himself. Some might say vultures the touchdown there. It's his 4th rushing touchdown of the season. And the Tigers out here early to the 2-score lead. You got to wonder maybe what's going through the heads on that Michigan sideline right now.
So, Mike, we kind of saw this with Michigan last week. They fell behind to USC a little bit. The difference in that game, though, was that Michigan turned the ball over 4 times and they kept it close. What does Michigan need to do with this drive to try to keep it close?
Probably force some turnovers, and that's something they haven't necessarily struggled with this season. They've got 5 coming in. So they need to force maybe 1 or 2. The big thing they got to do is maybe just tighten up their defense. They got to stop making these drives so easy for Clemson.
Clemson had just coming off their longest drive of the night offensively, and Michigan's first drive was a very quick 3-and-out for the Wolverines as Tanner Jones to throw, and that one short, and Dedrick Law gets a second hand on that. That's 6.
So there you see the difference in the coverage as Tanner Jones is having to take checkdowns underneath, and they've got defenders right on him. Will Slay has a lot of time and a lot of space when completing passes.
Back screen to the left side, Dior Chapman in a foot race to get the first down, and he's going to be forced out of bounds just shy of it. Michael Bayes in pursuit.
Yeah, I think when you have Chapman on 3-star Bayes all night long, you're going to take that matchup. He's almost able to get the first down. I'd give it to him again here.
The gun Weird motion. Midline read, and Tanner Jones showing some power to push this one out to the 46.
Yeah, and he gets the nice little crease up the middle, able to get 12 out of that one. So Michigan moving the ball a little bit. It's really important that they get some points out of this drive.
Tight end in motion, Oliver Bont, as Dior Chapman gets a run right up the middle, and he's not going to get much for his efforts there. Only a gain of 2 as Bay's there to stop him again.
Yeah, Bay's coming in there and making the stop, and some might have thought he would have got run over. Maybe Chapman could have pushed his way through, but a nice job there by Bays.
Back in the pistol, Jones. Handoff for Chapman, and Dior Chapman gets swallowed up very quickly yet again, this time for 3 yards.
I thought that was going to be Bill McAllister, but it was actually the walk-on Justin Duncan reaching his big paw out there and slowing him down. So another 3rd down coming up here for the Wolverines.
6th play of the current drive, and it's a play fake. Tanner Jones taking a shot left sideline. Giorgio Pepino for 25 yards.
Well, they got the cover 2 there, and Kraut's a little late getting over there. Pepino wide open down the sideline. Finally, Clemson gets some space out there. That was close on the sideline. I think he made the catch there. Nice job there by Jones to hit his big-time wide receiver.
Longest play of the night so far for this Michigan offense. And they're down inside the 25, ball spotted at the 23. Here's Jones to throw, and it's a quick strike to the middle of the field. That's Trey Jackson working his way out to the 11.
So now they're starting to find some room to operate, so to speak, as they're changing up. They're being a little bit more diverse in their offense, and Clemson is struggling a little bit to read what they're going to do.
Pistol set, Trey Greer coming to motion, and he's going to set up in the backfield. Triple option, and Chapman gets a carry, but Bill McAllister drops him after a pickup of 1.
In some leagues, they may call that a horse collar tackle. In the CFSL, we just call that a big man punishing a little man.
All spotted out to about the 5 here. Bont, the man in motion. Blitz coming for Clemson, and Tanner Jones goes to Oliver Bott, who gets back to the line of scrimmage, and he's lucky to get that thanks to Aiden Berry.
Yeah, he had a little bit of room, but if you saw on the top left, he had his curl. He just didn't wait long enough for it to come open, so he panics a little bit, checks it down. Might have had a touchdown if he was a little bit more patient.
Now, how much of that, Mike, plays into the fact that Jones is a freshman?
I'm sure it plays in quite a bit. You know, as you're learning the game, you panic a little bit. Everything's moving a little bit quicker your freshman season.
Jones taking a shot to the right side of the end zone. Giorgio Pepino, touchdown, Michigan.
Well, I say that, and then he comes back and he throws all the way across the field, finds his receiver. That one was much less open than that curl route, I thought, but he finds the right receiver, converts a very nice drive, and Michigan does the job and answers back here and keeps themselves in this ballgame.
A 10-play drive for the Michigan Wolverines, and it results in a 10-yard touchdown pass from Jones to Pepino. Pepino's 2nd touchdown catch of the season as Isaac Kraut gets across to the 26. But, Mike, the real question now is, can this Michigan defense find a way to slow a Clemson offense? It's got 126 yards on 15 plays.
Well, we'll see. And the big thing about that touchdown there is if they do get a stop here and they can score again, this could be a tie game or even a 4-point game. So it was really important there to get them to get that score.
Bubble screen there for Maurice Ross, and he'll pick up 10.
Yeah, they go to Ross, releases off of the line and gets the nice 10-yard play again. Slay doing a good job of finding the guys that are going to pick up the nice pickups.
Slay 10 of 11 tonight for 111 yards and the 1 score as that finds Keith Blazer coming across for a gain of 8.
Well, that time Raheem Darka had good coverage on Blazer, but Slay still finds him, had just enough, slips it in there, and gets the nice 8-yard pickup.
Pistol set 4 wide in a 2-by-2 look, and Slay from his own 40. Gonna keep this one on the read option, and Will Slay gets out to the 49-yard line on the 4-yard run.
Well, even though that was a first down, it was still a good job there by the Michigan defense to rally. It looked like Slay had a little bit more room when he took off over there, but they did a good job to converge, not let that be a bigger play.
And off, Dane Jones running left, and he's only going to get 2 yards, and that will bring us to the end of this first quarter. Clemson up by 7 in this very close matchup between these two teams. Who will get the win? You're watching the CFSL on PX1 Sports on YouTube Live. Started the second quarter, and this Michigan defense looking to bring some heat, and they will in the form of a blitz as that pass to the left side, and Chamberlain King picks up 6 yards.
Well, this drive has seemed a little bit tighter coverage for Michigan, as even though they convert that one there, they're not able to get a whole lot after the catch, which wasn't the story on the first 2 drives. So we'll see if that continues. They're forcing them into a third down. It's only a 3rd and 3, but you got to get them to third down if you're going to get them off the field, unless you're going to create a turnover.
Yeah, that first drive, Clemson had 3 plays of 10-plus yards. All of them came through the air as Will Slay going to take off and run here for the first down, a gain of 6.
Well, another nice little read option, and Michigan's doing a good job of rallying and not allowing him to break open big plays, but they are giving him enough room to get the first down, and eventually that's going to come back to bite him.
Another long drive here for Clemson as this pass over the middle and unable to hold on due to the big hit from Castle was Chamberlain King.
Well, now the tighter coverage is starting to pay off. They left him a little bit of space, and Clay goes to it, but Castle lays the big hit and jars the ball loose.
Slay 5-step drop over to the right sideline, and Chamberlain King picks up 12.
Yeah, Bray Ward was playing a little bit too far off there. Gave King the room underneath. Slay finds him again, 13 of 15 for 137. A great opening start tonight for Will Slay.
Slay 2 total touchdowns, the one passing to open up the game, and then his second drive he ran it in himself as he finds Dane Jones all alone over to the left sideline, and he'll pick up 10 yards after the catch.
That's the second little wheel route that we've seen Jones complete there, and he picks up the first down. Michigan's going to need to dial up maybe some pressure or some man coverage here to slow this offense down.
Dane Jones going backwards for the first time tonight as Jordan Doppler's there to stop him.
Well, the Doppler radar said there was a blizzard coming, and Jordan gets in there for the sack. I don't know if that was a good one or not, but came to my head, you sometimes just got to roll with it, right?
It works.
Okay.
Slay to throw. Going to take off and run instead. Will Slay going to slide. He wants no part of Cletus Castle as he picks it up yardage lost.
We can't really blame him there as Castle popped that ball loose on the completion over the middle earlier. It was a good pancake block up by the left tackle out there to open up Slay to take that off.
Slay from the gun and from his own 20. Slay dancing, finds Dane Jones down inside the 5, still fighting as he gets out to the 3.
I think you're seeing the evolution of Will Slay versus the youth of Tanner Jones there. As Slay stands in the pocket right before he's about to get hit and releases that one to get the first down.
This to full house. Dane Jones getting the carry, and he is going backwards for a loss of 2. Guess who? Cletus Castle.
Castle's having himself a nice game, and Dane Jones is like, what happened to those wheel routes? Why don't you send me out on those? Those were a lot more enjoyable.
And Jones still yet to record a run longer than 5 yards tonight as Slay had Keith Blazer at the goal line, but Blazer coming back for that only ends up being a net gain of 1.
Yeah, Blazer, I think a little impatient there. We've seen it before, and credit, you don't want to let it get batted away or let it get picked off, but you come back too far. You could have had a touchdown, and instead you got a 3rd and 5 from the goal, or 3rd and goal from the 5.
Pistol full house again here for Clemson. Jones getting the carry, and Dane Jones not going to get there. He's only going to pick up 1. That brings us to 4th and goal.
Don't love that play call. You haven't had any success running it up the middle on Cletus Castle. You go for it there on 3rd and goal from the 5. I wouldn't have minded to see something else there.
Out comes Frazier Flores, and Flores makes this a 10-point game off the chip shot field goal following a 15-play drive by the Clemson Tigers.
Well, it's interesting that 5 games into the season, Flores only kicking his 3rd field goal, although he did join late. As we see that return out to the 30, we talked about it ad nauseum, the success of the kickers or lack thereof this season, but these 2 teams come in, if it becomes a game of kicking, Cassius Castle, and Frazier Flores combined right now, 8 of 9 on the season.
See if that trend holds. It's Jones, play fake, and a quick throw there, finding Giorgio Pepino. It's a gain of 4.
Well, again, a lot of short, quick passes, maybe too soon for my liking for Tanner Jones, and they're going to have to push the ball a little bit further downfield if they want to keep up in this track meet with this Clemson offense.
Jones to throw here. That one another quick throw. That one for Trey Greer, picking up 3 yards. And Mike, to your point, their scoring drive on the previous drive, 5 plays of 10-plus yards.
Yeah, they're going to have to do that if they want to move the ball. Right now, they're getting a lot of space. Noah Bishop making the tackle there. It's a short 3rd and 3, but not ideal.
Play fake. Jones standing in, pressure coming off his back foot, and that one into the dirt as Dedrick Law could not get there in time. And Mike, another 3 and out for Michigan.
Yeah, and right now the Clemson defense and really the Michigan offensive coordinator isn't doing a good job of putting Tanner Jones in a position to be comfortable. He looks very uncomfortable back there, so that's a credit to this Clemson defense, but they got to get a little bit more creative in their protection schemes and in their play calling and try to get some more routes open so he's not constantly settling for those checkdowns.
In the meantime, this Clemson offense, really good field position. A wide receiver screen that could have been picked off by the walk-on Ed Green. Instead, 2nd and 10.
That was 6 points, gift wrapped, and you don't convert on it. That might come back to bite you.
Slay going to turn around, run the read option keeper, and Will Slay cutting into the open field. Slay in a foot race, and Will Slay gets run down by Juice Staley at the 6.
I did not think Staley was going to be able to get him, but impressive speed by Staley to keep up with Will Slay. I thought he was gone. Great vision, and he slips through that tackle there by Darka. I thought he was going to take it to the house, but excellent job and excellent recovery speed by Juice Staley, but an even better run by Will Slay, and they're looking to make this a 24-7 game.
Spot this back at the 7, but it is the longest play of the night for either team. Slay to throw to the end zone, and Cletus Castle says, nuh-uh, not in my house.
Well, you like that he was able to knock it away and keep it from being a touchdown, but you really would like him to pick that one off and try to end this drive without giving up any points.
The gun Will Slay to throw. Blitz coming off the edge, and that pass to the end zone for Chamberlain King, but he's shy.
We saw this last night. There was a touchdown that they didn't get. How is that not he was laying in the end zone before his knee went down.
Gonna mark it a hair's breadth away from the end zone, and here's Slay, speed option, doesn't pitch it, and down he goes. Jordan Doppler in the backfield again.
I feel like that spot by the Zebras cost Clemson 4 points here. That's something to keep an eye on later on in the game to see if that comes back to bite the Tigers.
So back out will come Frazier Flores. This one a 21-yard field goal, and about dead center on the field for him, and Flores puts it through. 2 for 2 on the night, and Clemson up by 13 on that setup by the long run by Will Slay. But Mike, to your point, could have been 6 instead. Well,
there's already conspiracy theories going on in chat. If somebody was pinging off the refs, it didn't look like it before that one, so I find it hard to believe. But, when the Zebras miss a call, the conspiracy theorists and their tinfoil hats come out in full force.
It's funny that they suspect such things. Giorgio Pepino got out to the 39, and I suspect that Michigan would like to get a touchdown here. As that pass out in the flats for Pepino, but with the run after the catch, Giorgio Pepino is able to get the first down.
Well, he was able to get the first down, but it wasn't like the space that Clemson's getting. He had 3 guys chasing him. He just was fast enough to outrun him, but they're just not finding the openings that Clemson is.
Midline read for Tanner Jones, finding a crease, and then Bill McAllister comes up and swallows him after a 7-yard run, and the size difference between Jones and McAllister is something to admire.
Well, when he goes back and watches film after this game, he's going to see he had a crease on the outside and might have been able to take that to the house if he took it.
Play fake, Jones in the middle of the field, and a one-handed grab for Giorgio Pepino.
Well, Pepino's the one guy that's showing up consistently in this first half for Michigan, and that's good for them. They definitely need their 5-star senior to be big, but they need some other guys to step up here too.
Play fake, Tanner Jones dancing around, going to take off and run. Jones with the first down and more down across to about the 23-yard line.
Well, it's always a little bit dangerous when you see your little quarterback who's only 5'9" taking hits downfield like that. You'd prefer that he slides. He's not really going to pick up anything more, but he does a good job of holding on to the ball.
Michael Bays with his 5th tackle of the night. Wide receiver screen there, and a dangerous one at that is Trey Jackson able to high point it, but it only gets 1.
Yeah, Trey Jackson still trying to make a name for himself, following in the footsteps of his brother, who started at Michigan, one of the top 5 all-time in both reception and yardage. Trey Jackson trying to make his mark here as well.
Bill McAllister is making his mark tonight. That halfback screen ends up going backwards for Dior Chapman. It's a loss of 5.
Well, and again, Bill McAllister's getting in there and shutting that one down, and it's hard to run that against this team. Yeah, I would probably just put it away. Don't use that anymore. You're putting yourself in a long 3rd and 14. You had a decent drive going, and you kind of shot yourself in the foot.
Jones and the Wolverines facing this long 3rd down. They're going to call a halfback screen right side. Dior Chapman breaking one tackle, throwing out a stiff arm against another, but he's only going to get 6 yards with that, and it's 4th and 8.
Well, they went to the other side, and they got Justin Duncan pursuing instead of Bill McAllister, but still wasn't the result that they wanted. They're going to have to settle for the field goal.
This one from 38 yards out for Cassius Castle and from the right hash.
Remember, Castle 5 for 6 on the season. We'll see if he can knock this one in. It's from the right hash, so it's not the easiest one, and it's not the shortest either. It's a 38-yarder. It should be makeable. There's not really a wind. Beautiful night here in Clemson, so it should be a relatively makeable field goal here for Michigan.
Not likely to place a factor as Michigan let the clock wind down, and Cassius Castle delivers to make it a 10-point game.
Well, they got points out of it, so there is a plus there, and they converted their field goal, so their kicker isn't going to be sitting on the sideline playing head games with himself. But they really got to find a way to stop Clemson before they get inside the red zone, and they got to learn to put together more sustained drives.
Blazer trying to find a crease that would let him break off a big return, but unable to get what he wanted. But Will Slay's been getting what he wants. 21 pass plays for 166 yards here tonight.
If he keeps up on this pace, he's going to be in the player of the week conversation, I would think. Michigan, though, is going to look for an answer to try to slow him down.
Slay to throw here, 4-man rush, and it's a check down here for Dane Jones. He'll pick up 9 yards to open up the drive.
Well, Dane Jones is making his name in this Clemson offense on swing passes and check down curl routes.
Cletus Cancel 8 tackles here tonight as Clemson took a timeout, their first of the night. 2 timeouts remaining in the half as Maurice Ross picks up 6 yards and another timeout called.
Well, they're still doing a good job of moving the ball around to different receivers, which is keeping this Michigan defense a little bit off balance.
The gun, 4 wide, trips right, Slay to throw. And he's going to throw that one short. That one for Maurice Ross, another 9-yard play here.
Well, Green comes over to make the tackle, but again, they're just giving way too much space out there. I get it, there's not a lot of time left, but they're still allowing them to move the ball.
Slay left sideline, and Keith Blazer wisely stepping out of bounds after he gets the first down.
So there's 15 seconds left. Clemson only has 1 timeout. They can go over the middle because the first down will stop the clock while they reset the ball. But Michigan's playing with fire here by making them pass it down the field.
Back screen right side, Dane Jones with some blocking and some vision. Dane Jones in a foot race with Castle, and he's dragged down at the 4.
Wow, what vision and elusiveness there by Dane Jones. Big play there by the newcomer, and he's got a 1st and goal here from the 3.
Slay to punch it in, last play of the half, and he's going to get sacked instead, and Clemson will call their last timeout with 2 seconds remaining.
I think some people are wondering why they didn't call the timeout with 6 seconds left. That's why. You had one more play, you get to come out and kick the field goal, still have a 13-point lead going into the half.
Nice little chip shot field goal there for Frazier Flores, and as you said, Mike, a 13-point lead for the Clemson Tigers here at home against the Michigan Wolverines. And as both teams head to the locker room to regroup and make some adjustments, Mike, we'll head into the studio and get your thoughts on that first half.
Well, I think Clemson looked excellent moving the ball down the field. They converted very nicely their first couple of drives down there. They struggled a little bit on their last couple of drives, not able to punch it in inside the red zone, but Will Slay has been phenomenal. Overall, Michigan, meanwhile, Giorgio Pepino is really the only guy that's been consistent and reliable out there. They're going to have to find some other guys that can create some space on offense, and their defense going to have to do a little bit better job of shutting down Clemson. They did a little bit better in the second quarter. We're going to have to see if they continue that in the second half and if their offense can start moving the ball a little bit better.
As you see the two offenses here, 232 passing yards for this Clemson on that offense in that first half. And Michigan barely up over 120 yards of total offense in the opening half. And neither team, Mike, yet to turn the ball over.
I mean, statistically and mostly just the eye test on the field, Clemson's dominating this game. Outside of a nice stop by Michigan on one drive and then a botched call by the Zebras, this game could be a lot different. Michigan needs to capitalize on that. Maybe try to force a turnover, but they definitely got to be more efficient on offense and move the ball a little bit more quickly downfield. They're not going to be able to move the ball with 3-4 yards of play against a Clemson offense that's averaging 8 or 9.
So the second half, we'll see Michigan open up, and it'll only be their 5th drive overall here tonight. And Giorgio Pepino going to try and get a big return, unable to do so. And like we're still waiting for that. But what sort of adjustments do you expect this offense to have made?
Well, I think Pepino's going to be the key if they're able to make something happen. Unfortunately, he's in the slot. Trey Jackson at the top of the screen, though. They might have to start looking at him on the outside.
Jones just going to take off and run, not liking what he saw at all, and he's not liking the birds that he has seen floating around him after that hit from Kraut.
Yeah, Kraut introduces him to the Clemson secondary. Kraut, one of the better defensive players we've seen in the league in his freshman season, and makes his presence known there.
Read option again for Tanner Jones, and Jones showing some fight there to pick up 7.
I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more of that. That's only his 6th carry. We've seen him come out and run the ball 15, 20 times before. Maybe a little bit more of that will keep this defense off balance.
Tanner Jones from the gun, going to give it to Dior Chapman, and the Clemson defense more than ready for that one as Noah Bishop was in on the tackle.
Well, yeah, they did a good job there as they had Charles Peterson, the walk-on, sitting and waiting, and Noah Bishop was pursuing from the backside. That's what Jones reads, and he sees him coming, so he hands it off. Didn't realize the guy was sitting there.
From midfield, it's 3rd and 3, Jones to throw, and he gets sacked, literally ran through by Bill McAllister.
Bill McAllister looked like there was a box of donuts sitting there, and he was in a hurry to go get them because he just turns on the jets and says, "Come here, give me some," and takes down Tanner Jones, who looked like a little teddy bear under this big mountain of a man. And that ends the drive, and not quite what Michigan wanted to see there.
I was going to say, just the size differential between McAllister and Tanner Jones is something else entirely. Is Michigan's opening drive of the half only has 4 plays to it, and here's Keith Blazer, who disappointingly cut back inside.
Well, I got a little excited there, and I kind of sat up on the edge of my seat, but then I realized, it's not going to happen. If it does, I'll get excited when it actually does.
He got close and had an opportunity, but instead Will Slay, single back set, and a 3-step drop for the southpaw as he fires a slant in for Chamberlain King.
Well, another bad spot there by the Zebras, I think, that goes against Clemson, which is strange considering they're at home, but I thought that was a first down, 2nd and inches, though.
Single back set, trips bunch to the left. They're going to motion one of them into the fullback spot is Dane Jones. Can't get outside in time because Cletus Castle there to drop him for a loss.
The one thing that I will say about the Michigan defense is they have given almost no running room to Dane Jones. So credit to them for that, but they have to slow down this passing game, which they haven't really been able to do.
3rd and 3. Slay, 3-step drop, quick throw on the slant pattern, and Chamberlain King nearly got away from Juice Staley. It's a 15-yard play.
Well, he broke that tackle from Bray Ward, and then Juice Staley was in danger of letting him slip through there. That's one of the things Michigan hasn't really done well all season, which is tackle outside of Cletus Castle, and that's something they maybe need to work on a little bit down the season and going in the next season if they want to compete.
Staley, 6 tackles here tonight as Little Slay to throw yet again. 3-man rush and a wheel route for Dane Jones as he turns on the afterburners to get 2.
Usually he's been pretty good on those, but Michigan doing a good job of closing in on them, I guess is what I'm looking for.
Slay to throw here, 4-man rush. And a little check down for Dane Jones as he'll pick up the first down, gain of 11.
Well, 83 yards through the air for Dane Jones. Again, not sure that's what he expected, but hey, if you get 100 yards receiving, 100 yards rushing, 6 of one, half a dozen of another, right?
It works, and if it works like it is for Clemson, I think they'll take it. As Slay, 26 of 30, turns 70 yards through the air, and he's going to add to that. Here's Maurice Ross getting down inside the 10 and still down to the 5 here for a gain of 18.
Look at that, 4 guys out there for Michigan, and it took a second effort for Ross to go down. They just not tackling really well, not finishing plays, leaving too much space in there. And, that's something that Michigan's going to have to fix. And we talked about it going in. They had the best opportunity here. Although Clemson needed probably to win this more than Michigan did, even though they're both 1-3. Michigan just not really playing like they really want this.
Slay going to give it. Dane Jones got some running room, but the Michigan defense, Mike, their speed, they closed quickly there, holding him to a 2-yard run.
Well, the run defense wants to play like they're winning this, or playing like they want to win this, but fortunately their pass defense, not too much. A lot of room up the middle here.
Pistol set, 2-by-2 look. Slay going to give it. Dane Jones to the inside, touchdown, Clemson.
Jones gets his first CFSL touchdown, so congrats to that young man on that accomplishment. Michigan, I don't know what they were thinking. Clemson does a good job spreading them out at the line. Michigan doesn't leave enough guys up the middle. And Jones able to pound that one in there. Get the touchdown, 20-point lead halfway through the third quarter. It's not an insurmountable lead, but they don't have Dewey Ames back there at quarterback.
I'll take this time to give a shout out to everybody in the live chat here on YouTube Live. Got Georgia Fan, Clutch, Swaggy, Shane, Hex, Dane Jones, and trying to get a look here. Ali Peters in here. I saw Neil earlier, Pepino as well, and I know Alan and Matt Packer in here as well, and anybody else I might have missed, I do apologize. As Michigan going to start from their own 24 with Tanner Jones in a pistol set, and Jones going to give it to the inside for Dior Chapman, who's got the first down.
Well, finally now down 3 scorers, they decide to start running the ball with Dior Chapman, who's one of the top 3 running backs in the league coming into this week. They probably need to do that a little bit more early on, but I don't know if this is the time to start getting your running game going.
Overbought in motion. Read option keeper Tanner Jones breaks free of one hit and looked to be a big one from Barry as he gets the first down.
I like how Tanner Jones takes that hit and the guy kind of slides off because he didn't have a great angle, and then he acts like he's pushing him off, like, get off me. Come on, dude, you're 5'9".
Up and left is Jones. Pressure coming, and that pass thrown backwards due to Bill McAllister on the bull rush.
Well, Bill McAllister might not have liked me talking about how he hasn't done much, as he's making his presence felt in the last couple Michigan drives.
Jones going to give it to Dior Chapman, counter run, and a big hit being dished out there by Isaac Kraut as Chapman loses 2.
Kraut's only got 4 tackles in this game, but he came in with almost twice as many tackles as anybody else on this Clemson defense. And he's picking his spots tonight, but he's making that Michigan offense feel his presence.
Backfield here for this Michigan offense is Jones, a 4-man rush, and a quick throw. Finding Oliver Bott, found that soft spot in the zone, and that picks up 18.
Well, they're going to need to find more soft spots, but I don't know if Clemson's going to give them a whole lot of zone. Actually, that was man, and they just, wow, how do you get that open in man coverage?
That's impressive and very surprising. Either way, a nice play there for this Michigan offense. They get out to the 35-yard line, Clemson territory, 3.5 minutes to play, and it's a bubble screen left side for Tyler Forrest, and he'll get down inside the 30 there.
It was a nice play design, especially considering the coverage that Clemson was in, but just wasn't perfectly executed. They got away with one there as they got 6 yards, but that could have been much uglier.
Pistol set. It's Giorgio Pepino going to get motioned into the backfield for the triple option. Jones going to pitch it to him. Pepino bouncing off one tackle, and he will pick up 6 yards. And Mike, earlier this season, Pepino had a touchdown run on that very similar play.
He did. That time we saw Aiden Berry come over there. Apparently has been taking tackling lessons from the Wolverines.
Wide receiver screen. That one bouncing off of Giorgio Pepino, and that one sets up 2nd and 10.
Yeah, the decision making right now for Tanner Jones in this game just is leaving a little bit to be desired. And again, as he gets older and gets more accustomed, that will probably improve. But right now, not helping out the Wolverines.
Another triple option there, and it goes for Pepino as Sam Lott, the new addition at corner, gets his 2nd tackle of the night.
Yeah, haven't had much of an opportunity to talk about Sam Lott, but he gets in there, plays that well. Good to see corners playing down and run coverage.
It's Clemson defense. They've been doing that fairly well here tonight against Michigan as Tanner Jones staring at a 3rd and 12, and he's going to throw it short for Dior Chapman, who's going to turn that into a 4th and 1.
I mean, at this point, I think you have to go for it, but of course they're not. I mean, if you're going to check it down like that and not get the first down, you better be prepared to go for it on 4th and 1, but they're going to take the field goal, which I don't know what this does for them.
It's a 32-yarder, but Cassius Castle does put it through and makes it a 17-point game with 2:20 to play.
I mean, I get it. You're a little bit closer, but it's still 3 scores either way, and you don't have a ton of time left. I mean, you have to pretty much score in every possession the rest of the game. I would have rather, you're not going to get down there that often. I would have rather just seen him go for it. Call your best play there, get the first down, and try to get the touchdown.
And Mike, the other problem really is the sake of the fact that Clemson has not had to punt all night.
Well, and you also look at that, every drive was right about 60 yards. Now, they're not always getting into the end zone, but they're consistently getting 60 yards on every drive.
Slay firing downfield and wide open Maurice Ross trying to outrun the Wolverines, but he'll be run down at the Michigan 12.
Well, the 3-star tight end had a ton of room out there, but didn't quite have the wheels to run away. You see the zone coverage there, and they kind of lose track over him over the middle. They split the safeties, and Ross does a good job of finding the opening, and Slay finds them for the big play. Not what Michigan needs if they want to make the comeback here.
Play there for Clemson, and definitely gonna hurt this Michigan defense as this one out to the 13. Slay to throw into the end zone. That pass caught. Chamberlain King, his 2nd touchdown catch of the night.
Hakeem Darka lost track of King there, lets him get behind him, didn't have any help over there. Slay almost overthrew it, but a good job there getting his feet down and getting the touchdown. And Clemson just not allowing Michigan to find any room and claw their way back into this.
Like that drive for Clemson, 2 plays.
Yeah, I mean, they've just been very efficient, and you really can't say enough about Will Slay and how effective he's been.
This kick away, and Giorgio Pepino going to bring it out and hope for something special here, and not going to happen for him. Only gets out to the 32. And Mike, again, as you pointed out, that field goal on the previous drive for Michigan, especially with the touchdown by Clemson, doesn't look like it did a whole lot.
No, I mean, it was a net 4-point loss by kicking that field goal there, and that's just not going to help you get back into it.
Jones to throw here, floating that one for the sideline. He throws it out of bounds. And Mike, Tanner Jones overall has played well, but clearly seems frustrated.
Well, I think you have to get him going in the run game. You got to use Chapman and Jones running the ball. They've thrown the ball way too much, and it's come back to bite them.
Emptying out the backfield here for Tanner Jones. And Jones looking, blitz coming, is forcing him out of the pocket, and Tanner Jones going to slide under the arms of Noah Bishop.
Well, he finally decided to slide and not take on those bigger defenders head on. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a whole lot of time left. He's really going to have to get creative if they want to pull off the miracle comeback.
Inside a minute and a half here in the 3rd, and it's a read option keeper. Jones running left, and a big hit being dished out by Michael Bays. It's a loss of 2 and brings up 4th down.
Yeah, the Clemson defense, Clemson offense, both of them just playing much better than Michigan. They're shedding blocks better. They're making more big hits. Nobody's forced a turnover, but Clemson just playing a lot tighter both sides of the ball.
So Michigan punting it back to Clemson, and this is their last non-conference game this season, as Blaze are not going to do a whole lot on that return. Clemson, on the other hand, they still got another conference game at the end of the season.
Yeah, they got Notre Dame, which is the 2nd time that they're facing Notre Dame late in the season. Kind of a odd little rivalry going there. But Michigan, the good thing for them, even though they're coming off a loss and they haven't played particularly well the last couple of weeks, they still have 3 Big Ten games left. They could still finish 4-2 in the Big Ten, which is likely going to get them in the playoffs. So all is not lost for Michigan. Like I said, Clemson probably needed this more, but Michigan really needs to dig deep in their bag of tricks and start fixing some of their problems.
Slay firing that one over the middle, and Jonathan Lamar picks up 17.
And just more of the same, although surprised at Lamar's first catch of the game as Slay seems to be moving the ball around pretty effectively. But Lamar comes up with his first catch there. And again, just more of the same. Michigan just has no answer for what they're doing. And really right now, Will Slay is kind of like Neo in the Matrix. He's just seeing everything happen before Michigan does.
Backfield here for Will Slay, and he's going to just keep adding to his passing numbers, and that one in the direction of Isaac Crowd, although it's incomplete.
Oh, I thought he got that one in there, but still, I mean, the passing numbers that Slay's putting up, just and the efficiency is just so impressive.
Slay here to the left side, that one for Lamar, only his second catch of the night, but it picks up 10.
Well, you know, I guess if you're going to go to him late and you just keep going to him over and over on the same drive, that kind of makes up for ignoring him the rest of the game.
Cletus Castle, 12 tackles tonight. This Clemson offense going to go read option keeper here for Will Slay. And, you know, Mike, they're up by, 24 at this juncture and just looking to keep adding to it.
Well, Scott Fountain in chat says that Clemson's looking really good on offense. Clutch had said before that he thought they could be 4-0 after they had a halfback earlier in the season because they played a lot of close games. I don't know if that's true, but the halfback definitely helping them out.
It's helped them get a 24-point lead over the visiting Wolverines, and they're looking to add to it. You're watching the CFSL on PX1 Sports on YouTube Live. Start of the fourth quarter, and Clemson trying to put this one really out of reach with a halfback screen for Dane Jones, who bouncing around back there, takes a shot from Cletus Castle on a flag thrown here. This a clipping call to back up the Clemson offense.
Well, you know, everything's been going so well for you. You know, I guess it's bound something negative to happen. I guess it's better a penalty than a turnover. Oh, and Clutch on the sideline losing his mind. His team's played almost a perfect game. He doesn't like to see that penalty.
Perfectionist as always is Cletus Castle, probably feeling pretty good about his stat line. 14 tackles, 3 for a loss. Slay all day to throw, and he's going to drop that one in for Blazer, who gets down inside the 20.
Well, Slay's tagline is all day I slay. And if you're going to give him all day in the pocket, he's definitely going to slay you. He's going to find one of these receivers. Keith Blazer gets off the coverage, beats Darka by about 5 yards. And Clemson just pretty much doing what they want out there.
So next week, Michigan, they've got another road trip. This game is the first of their 3-game road stretch. As Dane Jones, a big run, pick up the first down. But this game, the first game of their 3-game road stretch, next week they go to South Bend to play Notre Dame.
Well, Notre Dame's got a big game coming up Friday night against Texas, so we're going to see what Notre Dame is all about. They're 2-1 in the Big Ten. If they could beat Texas, they really announce themselves as a contender. If they lose, then that's going to become a really pivotal game, with the loser of that game next week between Michigan and Notre Dame maybe being out of the picture.
Slay to throw. Lamar doesn't get across. It's only a gain of 7, but it's first and goal from like the 1-inch line.
Well, these definitely have to be Big Ten refs because I'm pretty sure that ball was across the line as well, and the Zebras didn't give it to them. But fortunately for Clemson, they have fought through the adversity, and they don't need the refs helping them out.
Goal line set, 3 tight ends. Slay to throw. End zone, caught Maurice Ross.
I really thought Dane Jones was going to get his second touchdown there, but they decide to pass it, leaving no room for wonder there as they throw it 5 yards deep in the end zone, and Clemson got their lead up to 30 now.
An 11-play drive, and Clemson really putting this one out of reach for them. And Clemson next week, they'll be back here, but they're back in conference play, much like Michigan, going up against the Florida Gators.
Florida's got a tough matchup coming up Friday night with Florida State, and that's going to be an interesting matchup in that one. Florida coming off their first loss of the season, losing pretty handily to Auburn. They're going to want to right themselves against Florida State. If they lose that game, going into Clemson, even if they win it, it's still a huge game for Clemson. But if they lose it, then that becomes even more pivotal because Florida starts dropping down, and a win by Clemson could potentially knock Florida out of it. So a lot of big, interesting games coming up down the stretch here in the CFSL.
Not just for next week, but as you've said, for the remainder of this week and tomorrow night, no different. Nebraska taking on USC from Los Angeles.
Now, Nebraska came up with a huge win over Ohio State. Ohio State's AD predicted them to win 100-0, and Nebraska came out and blew them out. Probably not a good idea to light a fire under your opponent like that. We'll see what they've got against USC. I think most people expect USC to win, and I suspect they're going to be favored pretty handily. But if Nebraska can play like they did last week, then they have a shot at maybe pulling the upset over the Trojan team that got to the championship game last year.
And a Trojan team that, Mike, right now looking to be in good spot to win the Big Ten.
I think everybody's looking to them to win. It's going to be interesting, though, if Notre Dame can keep knocking on the door and put pressure on them.
Well, either Notre Dame or Texas, and it's an interesting conversation because, Michigan, although not necessarily their greatest performance here tonight, they're still in contention in the Big Ten for the playoff picture. And so the Big Ten just seems a lot more close and a lot more open than what it has been in the last couple seasons.
Well, I mean, really going back to season 2 and 3, it was kind of Michigan's to lose. They kind of took over in those first couple of seasons. And then it was a little bit more open. It was kind of between Michigan and Ohio State and Oregon a little bit over the next couple seasons. Then Ohio State took advantage, and they've kind of dominated that conference the last 2 seasons. And now we're back to a spot where is USC going to take the spot of Ohio State and start dominating? Texas is over there now. Texas has won the SEC the last 2 seasons. Now they move into the Big Ten. A lot of interesting scenarios playing out there. The one thing that they haven't had is that big group at the top, like Clemson, Texas, Auburn, that consistently is up there, which is a benefit to all the teams in the Big Ten. Everybody's got a shot. But right now, the SEC, as we're seeing today, just seems to be that much better than the Big Ten.
And talking about the SEC, I mean, this SEC group and Clemson, obviously still alive despite being 1-3 in conference. Still an opportunity for them to get back in the race, especially with a win here tonight. And Tanner Jones getting sacked by a Clemson defense that's been on fire. But, you look at the SEC conference, and they're still really wide open. Nobody's out of it yet.
No, it's going to be interesting going down the stretch. Me and you were talking about this yesterday. I mean, really, there's nobody that's out of it except for probably OSU. I mean, the best they can do is 2-4 in conference. Probably not going to get them in. But everybody else is really into it. Michigan still sitting at 1-2 even after this loss. They're in it. In the SEC, Clemson and Miami have more work to do. It's going to be a little bit tougher for them to get in, but they still got an opportunity. So a lot of big games coming down, and really outside of Auburn, who could slip up. They got 3 tough games down the stretch. I mean, both of these conferences are wide open, and these last 3 weeks are going to be really pivotal in deciding who goes to the playoffs, who gets the first round bye, and who's sitting at home licking their wounds, planning and recruiting to how they're going to topple the big teams in their conference.
Michigan being forced to punt here, and Mike, this is going to give Clemson an opportunity to maybe drop 50 against the Michigan Wolverines here tonight.
Well, and you see Alex A says no more points. Apparently she bet the under as the first time she's bet in the sports book in 7 seasons. And now she sees how painful it can be when you're on in danger of losing your wager.
And Dane Jones, 15-yard run, one of his longer runs of the night. 12 carries for his CFSL debut, but only 37 yards.
Well, he's got almost 100 yards receiving, and he's got a touchdown. So if he's still in chat, I'm sure he'll tell you that he's okay with that, especially the way his team has played overall.
Being up by 31, I imagine you don't really have a lot to complain about. As another wheel route here for Jones, and he's spinning and fighting, getting 9 yards with that. And, 9 catches, 95 yards for Dane Jones.
Yeah, overall, it's been a really impressive performance. The one thing that Clemson needs to do is they need to figure out how to get him open, running the ball up the middle against a linebacker like Cletus Gasson.
Slay has put up 430 yards through the air tonight and 3 touchdown passes, and nearly threw a pick there, but instead Jones comes down with it for a gain of 7, and that puts him up over 100 yards receiving.
Well, if that was Juice Staley and not Ed Greed, the walk-on, I think he might have taken that. He was just a half of a step too slow on that one.
And Mike, to your point, Dane Jones in chat confirming that he is totally okay with that.
Yeah, I would suspect that most players would be okay with a performance like this in their debut. Obviously, would like to run a little bit better, but credit to the Michigan defense and shutting them down running the ball. They just haven't had an answer for this passing attack.
Going to give it to Jones here on the run, and he's stumbling and stopped for no gain. So
Cletus Castle is like a heat-seeking missile because every time they hand it off to him, it seems like Cletus Castle is in there laying a hit on him, welcoming him to newcomer to the league.
16 tackles for him, 4 tackles for a loss here tonight for Cletus Castle. Likely going to put him in the Player of the Week contention.
Maybe. I don't know, though. With losing by 31, it's hard to get your name in that conversation.
Difficult to justify it later in the week as Clemson looking to just run time out. And so I guess, Mike, the one thing to your point that Clemson is going to have to take away from this is how do we get Dane Jones effective running the ball?
I think it's the only thing that the only thing he didn't do well tonight, although Swaggy getting a little careless there with the ball, maybe being a little too laissez-faire with his passes there, a little too much confidence. Or maybe they're just trying to not see the over. They're trying to give Alex A her first win in the sports book. But that is the only thing that you can really knock on Clemson in this game is how do we get our running back more involved running the ball. We have seen this, though. If you go back to, I believe it was season 1 and 3 when Auburn used it, they weren't necessarily the best running team. It is a pretty good passing scheme. It is a little bit more difficult to get your running back involved. But if they can play like this, I don't think that's going to matter.
Michigan still trying to give Dior Chapman some numbers, 11 catches, 40 yards for him, but
Michigan's trying to get Tanner Jones to feel a little bit better about what's going on. Let's be honest. I mean, Tanner Jones has had a pretty successful freshman season, but this hasn't been his best game. He's been a little flustered by this defense. They're just trying to build up his confidence, I think, heading into next week against Notre Dame.
Jones to throw here, and the pass rush gets home, and that's not going to help him feel any better about it.
Clemson has no interest in boosting the confidence of Tanner Jones.
Well, again, tomorrow night, and this will be over on Twitch, Nebraska USC will square off as Oliver Bott gets a big hit there. And so, Mike, I guess the question becomes, what does Nebraska have to do tomorrow night to get that upset over USC?
I mean, they have to run the ball effectively. We all know that they're not going to scare anybody throwing the ball. They're not going to come out and sling the ball downfield 50 yards a pass. They got to get the read option game going. They got to get Scott Fountain going. They got to get Dowdy Dowell going. And if they do that, and they can do that, and they can play from in front, they're okay. They got to be careful not to fall behind. And the one trick that they're going to have to, or one thing that they're going to have to account for, is they have some big playmakers in that passing game at USC. And if they can keep them locked down like they did last week, which was really impressive against Ohio State, if they can do the same thing and force USC in the long drives and not giving up big plays, and they can get some turnovers and they can score on offense, then they got a shot. But if they fall behind and they let USC get out in front early, it's going to be probably a tough game to win.
How much of what USC did is Michigan going to punt here yet again here tonight? Because you remember last week, USC against the same Michigan team, the Trojans came up with 4 turnovers, and yet that game only came down to being 9 points.
Yeah, they didn't necessarily execute as well. I mean, they thoroughly dominated Michigan in that game, but they just weren't able to convert on the turnovers like they would have wanted to. I don't know what to make of that. USC, they've been one of the better teams in the league over the past season and a half. I suspect we're going to get their best effort tomorrow against Nebraska, but Nebraska's going to have to avoid the turnovers, and USC, if they do get turnovers, going to have to capitalize on it better than they did against Michigan.
Well, Clemson can just kneel it out, but it looks like they have no interest in doing that as they come out pissed a full house, and Dane Jones going to get the carry, and a first down here. It's a 6-yard run for him to close out the win for the Tigers here tonight.
Impressive overall performance here by the Tigers. A 31-point win over a Michigan team that I think a lot of us thought was a little bit better than what they were statistically. They played some close games in there. Their point differential only 1 point different coming into the game. So I think a lot of people thought this was going to be a close game, and credit to Clemson. They seem to have figured out both their offense and their defense in this game. They got everything clicking. Maybe it's a little bit too late in the conference, but they can still end this season at 5-3, or at worst 4-4 maybe, if they stumble one more game down the stretch. Still a relatively successful season for how they started. Would definitely give them a lot of momentum going into the offseason, and maybe, if things work out right, a shot at the playoffs.
Well, that'll do it for us here tonight from Clemson Memorial Stadium. The Tigers in front of their home fans, winning 44-13 against the visiting Wolverines. Don't forget, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time over at PX1 Sports on Twitch, the Nebraska Cornhuskers head out to the Coliseum to take on the USC Trojans. For Mike, I'm David. We'll see you next time.